I'm a PSL. I have 9 proteges, and all of them are backend developers. Some of them are here. Hi, Sasha. So when talking to them, they always say that they have a goal that they would like to learn about other technology except AEM. So they're doing the AEM backend development, but they would like to see what is this Adobe Target, what is this Adobe Analytics, how does it all integrate? And I will try, there is one way to integrate with the AEM, but then I will show you this, how to integrate on a typical website which is not built on AEM technologies. So, we heard today, what is our mission and vision 2022? Yeah, make the world purple and be Adobe Experience Cloud expert, like Adobe, #1 Adobe partner, so for the whole Experience Cloud. That means for the whole Experience Cloud, not just the AEM. So if you look at our slides from the template, we say that we work with Target, we work with the Experience Manager, on this manager, and everything. And we have 500 talent tech experts and so many certifications, but what do you think, how many of those are actually people working with AEM and certifications working for AEM? So in reality, it looks more like this, like our project-wise, also from the perspective of the budgets and the client, we are quite now AEM focused. So how do we change this? Well, we tried and we learn about different things. So today I will show you how to integrate the rest of the Adobe Experience Cloud. Okay, a bit about me. I also took this slide from the template. So I'm what you call the jack of all trades, master of none. But so in both my personal life and also my professional life, so I do a lot of things outside work. I do also at work different things. But if you know that that's not the end of that sentence, because the sentence goes, jack of all trades, master of none, but it's still better than master of one. So let's do a simple website and use this technology, what I talked about, so Adobe Target, Experience Cloud, Campaign, Analytics, and so on, but we'll not use AEM. Exactly, like this guy, scream. Okay, so any front-end developers here? No? They're all there? So I don't know how much do you know about front-end development, but I looked, I'm a what you call hype-driven developer. So I looked what's the most hyped frameworks now. And these ones, or like actually it was a bit further, so I kind of stop and go with this website. So it was, so I built a simple website called Adobe Experience Demo. I used Nuxt and Vue, so technologies, and I used also material icons and material themes, so Vuetify, and called it, and used Firebase to deploy everything in the cloud. So what we heard today, serverless, no, you know, you just type Firebase deployed and automatically it's up there. Okay, so that's step number 1. Okay, I have my website, it's up and running. I can change it in I can deploy it in one line and that's it. What I want to do next? Next step is, if I want to add analytics, if I want to add target and all these things, you first need to start with launch. So next session is always add launch to your website. I don't know how many of you know, but we have our own Adobe Experience Cloud sandbox at Netcentric. So we are still discussing actually how do we share the users, but you can also use it. Basically, we are still debating on the rights and access management, but we have a demo sandbox. So I went there. I went to launch adobe.com, created a property, and I get this nice landing page for my launching property. it has some tabs upstairs. We're gonna go through them later, but basically that's it. I initialize my launch in there. Okay, so what do I do next? I have my launch property. Now I want to add some analytics. Next step is to install some of the extension. So think about launch as a big wardrobe where you define, okay, I want to have one department for my jacket, so for all the analytics events and triggers and rules and so on. I want to have another one for target. I installed that extension. I want to add some for Experience Cloud ID service. I installed that extension. So you see, I installed some extensions. I disable some of them because you also check performance and all those things. Do you really need that extension? But the most important extension is this one, core. What do you think that do? It's the thing what we had previously in a DTM, so like tag manager. So all the core rules where you would usually use, like you know, load something from a XY property or trigger XY event. It's here. It's in the core extension, and it's rewritten from scratch. So it's not as DTM, but it has the same functionality. Okay, so I added some my extension. I have my analytics extension. What's the next step? I add a rule. So if I want to add a rule, here I will use the core extension and analytics extension to create a rule. What are rules? It's just basically saying if something happened, in these conditions are met, we then do some action. And you use all this extension, analytics, core, to kind of combine the rule you want. Of course, you need to know also, because performance and anything, what you're doing, what kind of rules, because the rules are powerful. You can do any kind of snippet code. You can mess up your website as well. I think Fabian recently published a blog post about that topic. I don't know if you read it, but like, should marketeers do use tag management? So this is quite a powerful tool. So basically you can do everything. So the answer is no, you have to be also a developer to know what you're doing there. And so basically I use my two extensions. I use core to load the event at the page bottom, and I use analytics extension to fire analytics beacon. And that's it. I will show you the few steps afterwards where I included my launch and I added it. But when I go to the website, when I go to Adobe Analytics, I see some results. There are some reports. And you can see how I did all my preparation on time and not leave anything for the last days to prepare. Okay, so my analytics rule is there. It's firing, launch is there. Okay, what else we can do? Let's add some more analytics rules. For that, let's use a different tab. Data elements. What is data elements? Nico? Yeah, so we have a list of elements here which we defined. How do we define the data element? It's just something which we can reuse in our rules later. So you don't have to define every time, like how I read something from the website and I'm kind of repeating the same process. What I would do is define a data element called, for example, product title on my product page. Or I would define the rule named, I don't know, product card or product ID, etc. And I can reuse those data elements later when defining my rules. What do you think? Where do we read those data elements from? What we can use? Any ideas? DOM attributes? Yeah, okay. So one is data layer, one is data attributes. What else we could use? DOM structure, yes. Any ideas? Cookies? Let's see. Custom code, query string parameters. So when you're searching, use the query string parameters, session storage, random number. The question is what we should use. What's the idea that, how do we implement that it's later most easier to implement and kind of reuse, is basically using this JavaScript variables. And this is what we called data layer. Like we have a data like JavaScript variable on our page, and that's basically this. So in your backend, what you need, you just add a script tag and add some, variable object, JavaScript object, and there you follow some notation. This doesn't need, it's like there are some rules, what you can use and what not. Like there are some standards, let's say, but it's up to you. So if you need you see that you need a data lake, digital data layer for X and Y, you just add it as an object and add it to and implement the backend logic. So it's nothing fancy. Like just look at the source code, it's this here. And what we do here when defining our data layer, we define that thing as a new data layer property. Okay, so let's use that in our next rule for analytics. We're gonna do another core, like if there is some history change, and I can extend it a bit, so I can say if there is a product view page, then fire an analytics event. So we are now not tracking just page views, we are also tracking additions to cart or product views or so on and so on. And I can see also that on my analytics report. I see that there is some things firing, and I can see here, read here categories. Okay, so we have analytics set up, we have a web setup. Okay, so what else do I want to do? I want to add some targeting. What do you think? What would be the way to do it? Yeah, again, launch, first step, install an extension, Adobe Target, which we did already, we showed, and second step, add a rule for target. Add a rule to load the target. And that's basically it. That's the only thing you need to add target to your implementation. You install the target extension, you add a rule that you loading the target library here. You can add the custom parameters to Mbox, or you don't need to. And then you fire the global Mbox on any page, and then on target you do the rest. That's it for you enabled, once you added launch to your website, that you can just go to the target and continue from there. Okay. Then what if I want to add some campaign standard integration to, let's say, send email? What would I do? There? No. I tried this. I searched for catalogs, for extension, and there is no campaign, nothing with campaign. And why is that? Well, because with campaign, we usually integrate over, well, at least not yet, but usually we trigger those things from the back end, and launch is executed on the front end, like in your front end on your page, right? So you see I search catalog, then what else is in catalog? Like, okay, there is no campaign. But you can see there is a lot of other things. So, I don't know, Adobe Privacy Report Suite Selector, and these are just Adobe things. So if I scroll down, I can add, Facebook or Google Tag Manager, and even you can create your own custom extensions. There is, if you look at the Adobe's GitHub, there is some example pages written in Node to create your own custom extension. So, and even the private ones are supported. So that's something new. So if you're using something like often in your launch. That way you can, like, or for your client, we can actually, like, one way would be you create an extension, you publish it, and everybody can search it and use it. Or the second way is create your private one, which is just for that, just for your project. Okay, but that's, okay, so we still didn't finalize our launch. So we just something configured, but we didn't publish it. So that's where the last two tabs are, or three tabs. So we had environments. We also decide how do we publish, where do we serve the launch extension. And what you can usually do is just use Akamai. So it's like on CDN, you set this as a publishing framework. You define the things, what you just configured. So all your rules and extensions you add to the build system. You click save and build for development. And it's built. If there is a fail, you get error. If not, usually, I mean, usually you cannot mess up too much. Or actually, we said before, you can actually, but you see that later only. Here, with the library, it's built, it's succeeded, and there is also a publishing process. So once it's built, it's on your development environment, and you can kind of approve it and move it to the staging and production environment. Okay, but that's not like, okay, now I add it to my, there is a JavaScript library living somewhere in the CDN, but I still need to include it in the website, right? How do I do that? Well, there is install instruction, and basically it's this simple. So what we do is just add, like, there are two ways to add the JavaScript library, which are, what's the difference between this one and that one? Yes, exactly. This toggle, I don't know if you can see it, but it says load libraries asynchronously. So that means if you are using this approach, we add the async tag and one line, and that's it. Well, it's not it, because there's like a question mark that says if you're loading library asynchronously and using Adobe Target, please also include this snippet, so all things would, because otherwise there's like what goes faster, you know, you load the target and something is happening on your website changing, but like the whole rendering didn't finish, etc. So there's like a follow the rules. And the other is just you like the standard way, you add this at the beginning in your script tag, and at the page bottom you trigger the event, and that's it. And that's it. This is how in your any website you have, you can add analytics, target, and launch. How do I check if it's working? Any of you use this tool? Okay, 2 hands, 3 hands, 4, 5. Yes. It's still in beta, right? We have also someone from Adobe. When it's going to come out of beta? So it's Adobe Experience Cloud Debugger, so like Chrome extension, where you click, when you're on a website, you click the extension and there is a window popped up, and you see all the information you have. Like you also see what's happening here, like what the target events are firing, what parameters are sent, the same for analytics and so on. And also for Advertising Cloud and Cloud ID Service. Advertising Cloud I didn't touch, but yeah, basically you can see what's on the website, and kind of you can debug and see all the requests. And that's it. Launch. We have it running. Okay, but enough with the launch. Let's see something else. What else would you like to see? What is Adobe Target? Any ideas? How does it look like? Interface? What you can do in Adobe Target? Personalization. What does that mean? Segmentation, yeah. And not personalization. Okay, we have a potential discussion here. Damir. A/B testing, yes. What is A/B test? Give me one example. Did you ever do A/B test? Two different pages or the part of the page? So usually what you would do is, let's say you have a banner, like call to action or call to button, and there you see, I show you one picture and I show you another one. So because my segmentation and targeted said, well, actually no, that would be experience targeting. A/B testing would decide which one is the best. Like after you set it up to running, you run it for 3, 4, 5 weeks. Then you have your control test, and you have A/B or C version, etc. And then you say decide on the winner. Okay, so that's one thing. Marco, you were also at the training. What else we have at Adobe Target? What else we can do? Recommendation, yes. Katarina is not here, unfortunately. But yeah, this is something we might do in March. So like set up a POC to actually show recommendation. So it's all running in the Target backend using the AI, right? And basically you upload all the products you have, and machine learning works and say, if you're looking at this product and you're this customer, which recommendations you would have. It's AI. It's all in the back. But no, we actually don't know all the rules, right? Yeah, and other customers as well, yeah. Okay, and if you haven't seen the Adobe Target interface, I hope you will after this talk. So just request access to our sandbox environment and go see how it looks like. This is how it looks like. Basically, we are creating an activity, and it has visual editor where in the frame, you load your web page, and basically you can say that I'm creating an experience, and let's say I'm changing this title, or I'm changing this image, or I'm adding a new text, etc. I did also once, if we want to, we can also use Target to integrate with campaign standard and show on open time different image. But that's basically with the emails the only thing what you can do. Like you I send you the same link and open time, and if you open it, let's say in the morning, you get one picture and one link, and if you open it in the afternoon, you get another one, or some things like this, some rules that they. So this is it's possible also to use Target for that. So this is like not requests coming with the JavaScript from your website. It's just requests coming from your email client. So these are the things what you have at Adobe Target. So A/B testing, automated personalization, experience targeting is when you have particular audience to particular experience. Okay, do you want to see the website? So if you open your smartphones, you can go to experience demo, and I added a simple target rule offer, and I implemented a pop-up dialog. So since the targeting is enabled, you should get experience like a pop-up. But when I disable this in Target, like if you show them to others, you will not have it. Well, there is actually, there is extension for that called Adobe Privacy, which I didn't add in my launch configuration, but maybe this is something what we can continue working on. Okay. Okay, and what else? What else? So there is many other things which we didn't touch, like Adobe Campaign Standard a bit. We didn't, the new upcoming experience data platform, offer management, which is coming in future, which we just saw some slides, but we are still waiting how it will look like, and core services and triggers, meaning triggers you can do, like if there is an event on the cart, like analytics, cart abandonments, you get an email, you know, etc. So just one message at the end. So if you don't be a know-it-all expert, be a learn-it-all expert, and the best way to learn is just like try to do some things. And yeah, that's it for my talk, and see you tonight at the stage, karaoke. Thank you.